Mayor,
Yes.
before we begin, is it possible for us to have an emergency caucus for like 3 minutes?
Yes, if, does it have anything to do with some...
With something that's on the agenda for tonight.
Okay, all right, then if you would excuse us before we adjourn tonight's meeting, then let's all go back in and caucus. Is that a legal thing to do?
Probably not.
Okay. And that
we'll
is
ask the
why
chief
we
first.
keep you around.
I mean, if it's an item on our agenda, other than our review of litigation, which we're going to do later tonight, and so on, I mean, if it's a public issue, we got to discuss it in public.
Okay.
But I don't know the issue, I'll see, so.
It's one of the issues that's on, but I think we need to go in caucus and just have a brief conversation.
Right, but I don't think legally we can do that.
Oh, we can't do that?
Yes, that's what the attorney is telling me. Okay. Okay?
Okay.
All right, then. This meeting is called to order in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act. This meeting was included in a list of meeting dates sent to the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and the Highland Park Planet on January 7th, 2016, and has been posted on the bulletin board of Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue on January 7th, 2016, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Fire exits are to my left and to my right. If you come up to speak, please speak into the microphones, and assistive listening devices are available. Mrs. Picard, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Burl Mittler?
Here.
Councilman Erickson?
Here.
Councilman Fine?
Here.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Here.
Councilman George?
Here.
Councilman Walsh?
Here.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Here.
Borough Administrator Kovac?
Here.
Borough Attorney Schmier?
Here.
All right, I don't see anyone from Main Street, but Councilman George, do you have a Main Street minute?
Yes, I do, just briefly, but most importantly, for everyone in Highland Park, and I hope you watch this and hear this and you've seen the posters, May 1st is the street fair and the 5K race. It looks to be the biggest this year. Main Street's put a lot of work into trying to increase recruitment of vendors and participants. I urge everybody to be there. Last year, had a record crowd of, I think it was estimated at somewhere between 9,000 and 10,000 people, and it's going to be a great event. I'll be attending the board meeting of Main Street tomorrow night, so if anyone has any suggestions or any comments that they'd like me to bring forward, please see me after the meeting, and I'll be glad to do that.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I have a proclamation to read tonight. This is a proclamation memorializing Sexual Assault Awareness Month, Wear Denim Day. Whereas Sexual Assault Awareness Month and the observance of Denim Day are intended to draw attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and has public health implications for every community member of Middlesex County, including lifelong mental health impact. And whereas sexual assault, sexual abuse, and sexual harassment impact our community, as statistics indicate, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused before age 18, with many more experiencing other types of sexual violence in their adult life. And whereas prevention is possible, so we must work together to educate our community about what can be done to stop sexual violence while supporting survivors. And whereas staff and volunteers of anti-violence and prevention programs in Middlesex Middlesex County, including the Middlesex County Center and Sexual Violence Prevention Coalition, encourage every person to speak out when witnessing acts of violence, however small, and to challenge the social norms that continue to perpetuate a culture of violence. And whereas the New Jersey Sex Crimes Officers Association and the Middlesex County Sex Crimes Liaison Officers, in connection with the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, are dedicated to ensuring the effective investigation and prosecution of sex crimes in our community through interagency collaboration and training. And whereas with leadership, dedication, and encouragement, there is compelling evidence that we can be successful in reducing sexual violence in Middlesex County through increased awareness, prevention, education focused on increasing gender equality, health relationships, and bystander intervention, and holding perpetrators who commit acts of violence responsible for their actions. And whereas throughout the month of April, Middlesex County strongly supports the efforts of national, state, and local partners and of every citizen to actively engage in public and private efforts, including conversations about what sexual violence is, how to prevent it, how to help survivors contact with services, and how every segment of our society can work together to better address sexual violence. Now, therefore, I, Gail Brill-Mittler, Mayor of the Borough of Highland Park, do hereby proclaim April 2016 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and that we join anti-sexual violence advocates and support service programs in the belief that all community members must be part of the solution and to end sexual violence and encourage the observance of Denim Day, Tuesday, April 27th, 2016. So everyone, please wear your denim wherever you are on April 27th and remind the world about this important endeavor to stop sexual violence. Council reports. Councilman Walsh.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're getting very close to having a permanent driver for the senior center in place. Thanks to Kim for the senior center for recruiting and hiring this important position. The person we've offered the position to just needs to complete a road test for their CDL, and then we'll be able to have them on board. The summer camp jobs will be listed until May 13th. Applications can be picked up and turned in at the rec center. So high school students, college people, other people who are interested in jobs at the summer camp should stop by the rec center, pick up an application, and fill it out. Tonight is the kickoff for the women's soccer experience, where we're having 6 sessions led by Spencer Rockman, who's a New Jersey Soccer Hall of Fame coach. Really exciting to have great folks like that helping to build our youth soccer programs in the borough. Adult and youth tennis lessons will be starting May 1st with 5 spring sessions. The registration deadline is April 28th, so if you'd like to be involved in the spring session, you need to get your applications in before the April 28th. And there's also going to be 8 summer sessions starting on June 19th with the registration deadline of June 9th. And we're also gearing up for this year's Memorial Day Parade, which will be held May 30th, so save the date. It'll be starting at 11 a.m. And also things are moving forward with our annual fireworks, which will be held Sunday, July 3rd at 5 p.m. There'll be music, vendors, and also we're going to do a special Highland Park Gives a Hoot children's area as well. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman George.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a brief report on redevelopment. Again, a reminder for Main Street, though, for Sunday, May 1st. With regard to the amendment to the redevelopment ordinance, a small step. The planning board on Thursday night approved the final written resolution, referred it up to mayor and council, and that will be appearing on an agenda soon. With regard to the Tatliff development, I understand there are negotiations going on. They seem to have perhaps broken a logjam with acquisition, so I'm hoping that moves forward. And also, they're making arrangements for some follow-up funding for some of the environmental reports so that they can make a separate arrangement with the developer with that matter. There'll be a meeting which the mayor has set up, and the mayor, if she wishes to follow up, with regard to the shuttle, I believe with Rutgers personnel. I look forward to that meeting. I'll be at the Main Street Highland Park meeting tomorrow night on Wednesday, and that's all I have at this time, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Erickson.
Yeah, briefly, on tonight's agenda, the final reading of the 2016 budget is amended, and the cap rate exception ordinance are on the agenda, and it sets us for the next 6 months. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Foster Dublin.
Thank you, Mayor. Real quickly, news from public safety. We're happy to say that we did receive a free boat from the county, a rescue boat. So in case we ever need to rescue anyone, if we had horrific downpour or water issues, that we now have boats that will be able to do a rescue in. But most importantly, our first aid squad and our fire department, 5 persons from each department, will be trained in how to use the boat and how to perform water rescue. So that's being done now, and they're going to be certified in water rescue. The other thing is that Volunteer Appreciation Night was last Tuesday, and we had members from our first aid squad, Mr. Kim, that received the Volunteer Appreciation Award, and also from our fire department, Mr. Schultz, that received an award, and members of our CERT team. And that was a wonderful event, and we do thank our volunteer for their services that they provide for us. We can't thank you enough, and we're blessed in Highland Park that we have plenty of volunteers to perform these services. So thank you all to all who volunteer and continue to keep us safe in various capacities. On a very sad note, condolences on the loss of Linda Simon. She lost her husband, and she works in our municipal court, so please keep her in our prayers. And thank you. That's my report.
Thank you. Councilman Fine?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Just 2 items this evening. First, I want to thank Councilmember Jim Walsh for bringing to this council's attention a resolution which we're going to consider for adoption tonight that will urge state lawmakers to fully restore lead prevention funding to the state budget. And I just wanted to also mention that there will be a ceremony on May 2nd to celebrate Highland Park's becoming the first municipality to be designated a heart-safe community in New Jersey. And just to please pay attention to Borough updates for additional information regarding this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Council President Welkowitz?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to express my thanks to everyone who participated this past Sunday in our largest Earth Day celebration to date under Sustainable Highland Park, who organized the event. Chair Terry Hover did a great job. We had a full afternoon of fantastic musicians, most of them very local. There were displays by lots of nonprofit organizations with hands-on demonstrations for all the members of your family. Seal Energy of our Smart Homes program was on site, and they actually demonstrated inside the Environmental Center how they performed the home energy audit, which is still available now. That program is still available. You can go to our website to find out more information on that. And also our own Frank Troy, foreman at DPW, was on site. He was representing and answered questions about our extensive recycling program. So thanks again to everybody that was involved and everybody who came out. On the agenda tonight is a resolution to approve a new contract for an electronics waste recycling program with a new vendor. We are extremely happy to be able to offer, again, a free electronics recycling program to all the residents of Highland Park. We'll roll out all the details of what will be accepted. It's on the website now. We'll expand on that in the very near future. So please look to our website for that. And again, this is a drop-off service, so you can drop off your electronics while Public Works is open. That's Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. This week we also, last week, we announced our Hummus disposal. This is a drop-off service that we offer before Passover, and that'll be offered this Friday morning from 6:30 a.m. to noon down at the Public Works Building. Again, this is a drop-off service this Friday, April 22, at the DPW building. Please do not leave anything else after noon, after that 12 noon hour, because our truck will not be available to dispose of anything, and we can't leave the stuff there on Borough property over the weekend. And just a general reminder again, Public Works Building is open from 6:30 a.m. Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Please, we've been finding a lot of debris that's left by residents there. This is not a public dump. This is borough property. Please go to the Public Works office when the building is open, and they will take care of anything that you need to dispose of. But please do not leave items there. And lastly, I'd just like to wish everyone a very happy Passover. Thank you.
Thank you. Borough Administrator, do you have a report?
No report.
Okay. Borough Attorney, do you have a report?
No report, Madam Mayor.
Okay. The only thing I have to report on, as was mentioned earlier by Councilwoman Foster Dublin, we had a wonderful volunteer appreciation night last Tuesday. There were several awards, many awards given out. Each committee or commission chairperson selected one person from their committee to receive the award. And it was a wonderful evening. And again, I want to congratulate Alan Williams for his being selected as our Volunteer of the Year. So again, as was said that night, we could not function here as a municipality without all the wonderful volunteers that we have here. Throughout, all the different departments are affected by it, and I am losing my voice. So again, thank you to all our volunteers who work on borough commissions and borough organizations. Again, thank you. Okay, any public discussion? Please come up to the microphone, state your name. I'm sorry? Yeah. State your name and address, please.
My name is Evan Raxon. I live at 40 Samantha Drive, Morganville, New Jersey, and I run the Vapor Talk store in Highland Park here on a daily basis. So, as I imagine, you guys can guess my position on this bill. I don't really have a speech planned. I just wanted to hopefully let you guys know the way that the shop is run and the contrast between the shop that I run and the vast majority of vape shops that are in this area. Of course, mine is the only one in Highland Park. So generally speaking, the way that it works, the way that people use electronic cigarettes, is it's usually kids under the age of 21 who have not smoked to begin with, and what vape shops recommend to them is a device that's very similar to a hookah. So it's meant to produce a ridiculous and very unnecessary, and I stress unnecessary, amount of vapor. Now the problem is that this device, these types of devices, is what gets people coming back into the store and spending a ridiculous amount of money, because since it produces so much vapor, it goes through the juice quicker. But very few people inhale on a cigarette like, so it's not very conducive to helping people quit. My customer base is vast majority middle-aged people who are legitimately trying to quit smoking. I do not recommend them these devices, and nonetheless, I can't sell to people under 21 anyway. So, I don't really understand the logic behind taking a place that we legitimately care about our customers. We legitimately help people quit smoking. And I have personally helped over 500 middle-aged people quit smoking, some that have been trying for years with no success. I don't understand why essentially it seems that you're trying to take the business that we're getting and bring it to the town next door. That doesn't really make too much sense to me. But mainly, I just wanted to pronounce my concerns and the way that we function as a shop and our contribution to Highland Park as a whole. So please take that into consideration before you pass this bill. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. Councilman Fine, I'm wondering if perhaps you might want to invite this gentleman to the Board of Health meeting. This ordinance is coming to us from the Board of Health, and it might be a good idea to go and speak with them to share your thoughts and how your shop is different from what other vapor shops are, so they have a better understanding. And then we can talk about it some more. Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
I do have a question in regards to your shop. You mentioned that you do not sell your products to anyone under the age of 21. What kind of procedures do you have in place to ensure that that does not happen? We need you at the mic.
We check ID at my shop to make sure that the people are not under 21. And if they are, regardless of what they're trying to buy, whether it be wire or batteries, any of those types of things, we do not sell them to people under 21. Additionally, the people that do want to get involved in the cloud chasing aspect, which of my customers, it's very few, I teach them safety. Very few shops teach people safety, and that is obviously very important. So I'd just like to get that out there as well.
Okay. I do have another question for you. What do you mean you teach them safety? Is there some kind of workshop, a class that's done, or it's on an individual basis?
It's on an individual basis. It depends on what type of device they're trying to get. A lot of people these days, most people that are doing it for the hobby purposes, they build their own coils. And there are many things involved when you're building your own coils to make sure that you don't short out your battery or the proper battery to be using so it doesn't go over the amp limit that, is safe. So it's a lot of different things like that, as well as just standard procedure on how to do everything properly. So when they leave, first of all, usually they come in with a device that they had bought elsewhere, because I don't really sell these types of devices. But I do teach them how to use them properly, and I will build it for them safely with a resistance meter and whatever other tools are necessary.
Thank you.
And does anyone else have
I actually have a question for you.
Just stay over
Sorry.
there.
No, I appreciate you coming here today and speaking to us. And so in your comments, one of the things that you had raised is that there are vape businesses who you feel don't operate in ways that are necessarily in the interest of the public and health and those sorts of things, correct?
I think, yes, that's absolutely accurate.
And so when you look at us as a borough council who's thinking about moving an ordinance to make sure that public health and well-being are protected of our residents and people in town, can you tell me what parts of the ordinance do you think aren't actually getting to that issue about creating an education program to educate residents about that, to make sure that some other vape shops who maybe aren't as morally just as you claim to be ensure that they are actually following those rules. And so it seems to me that you should actually be embracing this, understanding there are vape shops that maybe aren't acting in a responsible manner and that are doing things that would jeopardize safety and health of borough residents.
I suppose I should clarify a little bit. So, because of the way I run the store, my goal here is not to make money. I honestly do not care. I do not think money is real. I do not think it is tangible. And that's not my goal here in this store. However, since I am not trying to leech off of people, the amount of money that we pull in comparison to every other vape shop ever is substantially lower. So my problem with this is specifically from my boss's perspective. I don't want to put that additional $100 a month stress on him. That's honestly the main reason here.
Thank you. And, I don't want to hurt people. I don't think that you want to hurt people. I don't think other merchants in town want to hurt people, but I honestly believe that we have to take steps to protect our children, to protect our communities. The Food and Drug Administration is stalled on enacting regulations to protect public health and looking at e-cigarettes. And I think that it's important for communities in general to move forward things that make sure that public health is protected, and that we shouldn't leave those decisions up to individual businesses and how they run their businesses to be responsible. That's why we have our system of laws and a country of laws and rules and regulations. But I appreciate your time in coming up here, and I hope that, and my goal and our goal here isn't to put you out of business or to put more strain really, but to protect the health of our residents and make sure that it's protected from all businesses and ones who come in who might not act in a responsible manner like you claim to be acting.
I understand
Thank
that,
you.
but just keep in mind that the kids that you're trying to be protecting, they're literally going to walk 5 miles over where the age is 19 where you have to buy it, and they are going to continue buying it there without everything that I offer them if they're over age in terms of safety. So one way or another, those kids is not a far walking distance for them to go and spend their money outside of this borough.
Mayor, may I ask a follow-up question?
Yes, Councilman George.
Thank you. You mentioned that you didn't want to impose the $100 a month fee on management. Other than the fee, does management have an objection to the ordinance?
No.
Okay. And I think, as I mentioned before, if you can arrange to present to the Board of Health your point of view so that they can also present their point of view, just as Councilman Walsh did, perhaps together you might be able to come up with something that works for all of us.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, council members.
Thank you. Council President Welkowitz, you had something you wanted to add.
I apologize for doing this a bit out of order. I forgot to mention something very important. Our student green team is hosting a film at the library this Thursday at 6:30 p.m. That's Thursday, April 21st at 6:30 p.m. Free pizza. The movie is called Yurt, Your Environmental Road Trip, and it's being put on by Sarah LeBeau and Haley Conrad and the other members of the Student Green Team. And they're part of our Sustainable Highland Park. They were at the Earth Day Festival as well. Please come and enjoy the movie and the snacks. Thank you.
All right. Any other public discussion? Please state your name and address.
Certainly. My name is Greg Trevor. I live at 66 Grant Avenue, and I wanted to just take a moment to say publicly what I've said to several members of the Borough Council over the last few weeks, which is to express my appreciation for the wonderful care and attention I received exactly 10 weeks ago. I realize that today is the first time in 10 weeks that I've actually been able to walk without the aid of a walker or a cane or without a cast. Oh, please. That's not why I said that. I just wanted you to know that I was doing the math in my head. Many of you know that on February 9th During the ice storm, while I was out walking my very frantic dog, I suffered a severely broken and dislocated ankle. And I just wanted to recognize again the wonderful, prompt, and humane response that I received both from the Highland Park Police Department and from EMS. Within 5 minutes of the 911 call, there was a Highland Park Police Sergeant on the scene who was very attentive and very considerate, both to me and to my very hyper dog, trying to get me to an ambulance and the dog home to my house at the same time. He did a wonderful job. I wish I knew his name. I'd love to be able to thank him personally. Also, the EMS people who met us at the...
That's the Highland Park First Aid Squad?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I give it the wrong name? I
Yes, it's
apologize.
Highland Park First Aid Squad.
I apologize, Elsie. My apologies. They were wonderful, and they are volunteer as well, correct?
Yes, they are.
Yes, and they were there immediately, very considerate, got me to the hospital very quickly, kept me kept me laughing during that time, which is very important. And I just wanted, as you and I have discussed, Madam Mayor, I know people are often up here complaining or talking negatively about things in Highland Park, but this is a wonderful example of both how our public servants and our volunteers work together and really care about this community. And I am very appreciative, and I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to everyone, and thank you to the borough, and to all of you who have come to me personally and have been supportive during my recuperation. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you.
Is there any other public comment? Please state your name and address.
Herb Groves, Adelaide Gardens. Madam Mayor, at the previous meeting, I asked members of this council and yourself to put a ban on anyone entering any of our meetings with laptop machines. And what is your position this month?
Mr. Gross, could you explain to the council why you would like to see that happen?
Well, at the previous meeting, I observed very carefully when you approached the young man with a laptop machine giving him instructions. We don't need you or anyone else to insult any of our members, residents, from speaking here like I am right now. We have a gentleman that operates the TV cameras, and he does a wonderful job. He does an excellent job.
Yes, he does.
Anyone that gets up here to speak, they are recorded. We don't need anyone with a laptop machine or any computer devices in here. This is my position.
So if you're concerned that somebody in the audience is taping you, is that what you're concerned about?
No, I repeat myself, Madam Mayor. I observed you giving instructions to a young man with a laptop machine here. Mm-hmm. We don't need you or anyone else, or any member of the council. We don't need anyone to interfere with anyone who wants to speak. Anything that has to be recorded is done with that gentleman that operates the TV cameras.
Right. I think perhaps the only thing I can think of you're referring to is we have the head of our communications department commission that attends all our meetings, and he does take notes so that we can report on things here. So I think we're all hearing what you have to say. Borough Attorney, would there be a need ever to ask people to turn off their laptops and computers and?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so there really is no requirement that we have people not use their electronic devices during the meetings. I think you can rest assured that no one is trying to tape you or do something personally to you.
Not myself. I am talking about every resident here in Highland Park, madam.
Okay. We will take that under advice, Mr. Gross, but I don't believe that anyone who has a cell phone is trying to hurt any of our residents.
I am not talking about anybody bringing their cell phone into the meeting.
Yeah.
Forget that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
But I would like a ruling banning laptop machines from entering our meetings.
I don't think there's any precedent for that, but we will discuss it.
And I expect the full report from the council and yourself.
We'll discuss it at our next council meeting, and we can let you know what the discussion was. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, seeing none. Clerk, would you report on advertising the cap rate exception ordinance for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
Calendar year ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title. Affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Okay, may I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any public hearing on this? Okay. Resolution to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title.
You sound good.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. Clerk, would you report on advertising public hearing on the 2016 budget?
The 2016 Highland Park municipal budget was introduced and approved on first reading on March 15. A summary was duly advertised in the Home News Tribune on March 18th, with the public hearing scheduled for April 19th. Copies of the budget were made available to the public in Borough Hall and the Highland Park Public Library.
May I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Any public hearing on this? Any public discussion? Okay. May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Resolution to approve the amendments to the 2016 municipal budget and schedule public hearing.
I have to read it.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Don't all fall asleep while I'm reading. Whereas the local municipal budget for the year 2016 was approved on the 15th day of March, whereas the public hearing on said budget has been held as advertised, whereas it is desired to amend said approved budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of the Borough of Highland Park that the following amendments to the approved budget of 2016 be made. Current fund, general revenues amount to be raised by taxes, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, from $11,210,452.39 to $11,290,452.39. Total amount to be raised by taxes for supporting municipal budget, $11,636,635, $11,716,635. Total general revenues, $14,950,430, $15,030,430. General appropriations, operations within caps, public works functions, apartment collection, $100,000 to $180,000. Total operations, including contingent within caps, $10,003,431 to $10,083,431. Detail other expenses, $3,588,585 to $3,668,585. Total general appropriations within For municipal purposes within caps, $11,468,006, $11,548,006. Subtotal general appropriations, $14,750,430 to $14,830,430. Total general appropriations, $14,950,430, $15,030,430. Be it further resolved that 2 certified copies of this resolution be filed in the office of the Director of the Division of Local Government Services. Be it further resolved that this complete amendment, in accordance with the provisions of NJSA 40A-4-9, be published in the Home News Tribune in the issue of April 22nd, and that said publication contain notice of public hearing on the amendments to be held on Borough Hall on May 3rd, 2016 at 7. There's a test on that.
Okay.
No one knows what I just said. Except you.
So now...
Need a motion to adopt.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt or reject the budget?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. In light of the ongoing discussion on the e-cigarette licensing, I'd like to ask for a motion to table this until the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Second, and this will hopefully give the opportunity for more communication between representatives from the vape store and others with our Board of Health.
Okay.
You have to do all in favor.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Clerk, would you report on advertising the bond ordinance for the acquisition of the senior center police and fire equipment for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
Bond ordinance providing for the acquisition of senior center police and fire equipment in the Borough of Highland Park, County of Middlesex, appropriating $190,000 and authorizing the issuance of $180,500 bonds or notes to finance the cost, has been duly advertised for consideration, passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was posted and made available for public inspection, and the supplemental debt statement filed in the clerk's office prior to introduction was received by the Division of Local Government Services on April 7, 2016.
Okay, may I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
Motion.
Second.
Public hearing. Okay. Resolution to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance by final reading by title. Motion to adopt or reject.
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. Clerk, would you report on advertising the traffic ordinance amendment for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
An ordinance to amend and supplement the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Highland Park, Chapter 7 Traffic, was duly advertised for consideration and passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
May I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
So moved.
A second.
Okay. Any public hearing? Okay. Resolution to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title. May I have a motion to adopt or reject?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Clerk, would you report on advertising massage parlor licensing requirements ordinance for consideration of passage on final reading by title?
An ordinance amending the Code of the Borough of Highland Park, 2010, Chapter 247, by adding Article 2, licensing massage parlors, was duly advertised for consideration of passage on final reading by title, and affidavits of publication are on file. The ordinance was posted and made available for public inspection as required by law.
Okay. May I have a motion to take up the ordinance on final reading by title?
Motion to take up ordinance with the amendments on final reading by title.
Second.
Okay. Any public hearing?
Roll call.
May I have a resolution to adopt or reject and advertise the ordinance on final reading by title?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So I would also join in the second, Mayor, and note for the public that some amendments have been made to make this ordinance consistent with state law. There were some licensing portions that were duplicate of the state, so that was, council has cleaned that up very nicely. And I can also report that I did receive information from Main Street that they have reviewed it. It's on their agenda for tomorrow night. It hasn't been circulated to any of the massage parlors yet. But I think with the changes that have been recommended, that we could move forward with that tonight.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt or reject?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. Before we move into consent agenda, I want to thank all of the department heads that are here tonight. If it weren't for your day-to-day operations of our municipality, in combination with all the volunteers I spoke of before, we could not make everything happen for our residents here. So I want to tell you how much I appreciate you're all coming here tonight and everything you do for all of us in Highland Park. Thank you. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt the following items? Item number 18 through item number 25. Roll.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Is there a motion?
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Okay. I am appointing this evening Jim Constantine and his firm as our borough planner, Mark Liebskind and Javier Zavaleta to our parking review task force. May I have a motion to confirm?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Erickson?
Yes.
Councilman Fine?
Yes.
Councilwoman Foster Dublin?
Yes.
Councilman George?
Yes.
Councilman Walsh?
Yes.
Councilwoman Welkowitz?
Yes.
Any public discussion?
Your Honor, if I may interrupt, these are not necessarily under my council reports, but they did come from public comment. I'd just like to make a quick note. The planning board tentatively approved the American properties, but especially while police are here and the public, one of the conditions that I requested was very graciously granted, which is to meet with the police department to develop a construction traffic plan for the entire project.
Great.
I'd also like to note that in the meeting that we had with Honeywell, although they're not the applicant, they're going to be doing cleanup first. They agreed to the same thing, to meet with the police department before work starts, which they anticipate late in the summer, early fall, to develop a construction traffic plan that will govern the whole plan. And we're hoping that we can all meet together and have a unified plan that goes from the minute the shovel hits the ground till the time the last key is turned in the lock. I'd also like to report Mr. Bickert had raised a question about the traffic in Rite Aid. I reached out to Rite Aid, and the management there has referred it up to regional for some review on their traffic plan on the site, and to see what we can do to make things a little safer for people like me running across the parking lot and nearly getting run down by a delivery truck. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, no public discussion? Then may I have a motion to adjourn to executive session to cover some litigation issues?
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
Thank you. Meeting is adjourned.
Hi, Steve.